We all know that our life will ebb and flow with time, and as the economy grows and shrinks, different things may happen in our life. We could have a personal emergency, we could lose a job. So we need to know and be ready for how to handle a financial setback when it happens. That sets you up for success, and hopefully you don't need this information now. At least ways you know how to recover from a financial setback if it ever happens to you. My name is Andrew Finney, and my passion is helping you make sense of real estate. If you need help finding a top agent near you, or if you simply want to drop me a line to say hello, my contact info is below. If you're new here, please go ahead and subscribe to this channel now and like this video. Thank you. All right, my friend, let's take a closer look at this, and I really hope that you never have to use these steps to recover from financial setback. At the same time, it is extremely probable through our lifetime that we may endure a job loss, or we may endure a personal hardship or an emergency. We need to be prepared. So let's talk about that, and if you're in this situation right now, just want you to know everything's going to be okay, and we'll see you through to a better day. The first step is calculating the cost. It's important to note whether this is a medical emergency or just a different kind of emergency or a job loss. We need to get real about the numbers. We need to know exactly how much it's going to cost us to dig our way out of this so that we can come up with a definitive game plan moving forward to paying off any of the debts to make this recovery happen. By being clear on how much it's going to cost and how much it's going to cost us to live, we can better understand what we need to do to get on to a better day. Let's take for example that if you incurred a job loss, you might want to make sure that you have 6 months of reserves built up. This is where the wisdom of having an emergency fund is extremely wise. It's important to note that if you have a Roth IRA, that you might be able to use this to be able to help dig your way out and to give yourself some very needed basic living expenses that get you from point A to point B. Now I say 6 months because in general you want to have at least 3 to 6 months of an emergency fund. The more that you can have stowed away, the better off you'll be. But by taking stock and calculating the cost of how much you're going to need, you can start paring back any non-essentials. Maybe it's time to get rid of Netflix, maybe it's time to get rid of the cable, maybe it's time to stop eating out as much when you're in this situation so that we can start keeping as much money as possible. It may not take you 6 months to find your new job. At the same time, it's best to be prepared. The second step is to slash your budget where you can. This goes back to when we're talking about Netflix. It's very easy to pop open our bank account and look at what we're spending money on. Maybe we're spending money on online games, maybe we're spending money on too much entertainment. Anything and everything when we're experiencing a financial setback can save us money by paring back, and it'll probably be an eye-opening experience for you to realize just how much money you might be realistically spending on non-essential items. So when we dig out of this financial setback that we're in now, we'll have a better clarity and understanding of how not to get back into it again and what we could be doing with our money that'll provide a better future for us tomorrow. The third step is to explore your financial options. Now, just like we were talking about with cuts and slashing to the budget, it's also important to look at any income producing activities that we can have. Even if we're not working right now or we've had some other kind of financial setback, maybe it's time to look for a second job. Maybe it's time to look for a part-time job. Maybe it's time that if we own a house that we could rent out a room. As inconvenient as that might be, these are all the right steps to be thinking while you're ahead of that curve before you get overtaken by the tsunami of debt, and the setback could become a prolonged, devastating depression. We want to make sure that doesn't happen to you. So this is where we have to get real about our current situation, and we need to explore those things that may be painful to us or even inconvenient to us. All income producing activities that we can go forward with, from the part-time job to a second job to leasing out a room in our house or our apartment, these are all extremely important. If you're renting right now and you're considering leasing out one of the rooms in your apartment, you need to take a closer look at your lease agreement to make sure that you have that ability to do so. In some cases, landlords will let you sublet, which is essentially just leasing to another person for one of the spaces of the apartment. In some cases, they will prohibit it. You need to make sure that you're in congruence with your lease terms to make sure that it doesn't come back to bite you. If you own a house, it's very simple to open up your house at your discretion to somebody that you're comfortable with living in one of your rooms, charging them some rent to help you have income production going on. If that's your situation and you're renting out a room or two and you're able to also have a part-time job or another job, a second job, it's going to help you dig out of that financial setback sooner. Explore all income producing activities at your fingertips and those things you can do. It's time to get real and realize we have to make this happen if we want to get ahead of it. You're not the first one that's been in this situation, and you won't be the last one. I personally have dug myself out of financial setback after incurring a bankruptcy and being completely devastated financially, having a devastated credit score and not being able to purchase anything. In fact, the only person that would lend me credit at the time was Uncle Abe that I found picking up off the road. Coming from someone that has been there, I want you to know it's entirely possible to achieve it and to go on to brighter and newer horizons. To give you a little bit of a better insight into why you see the phoenix throughout my videos, it's because it symbolizes my life. I believe the phoenix and I are extremely tied together, and so can you. A phoenix rises again from the ashes, stronger and better than it was before. I want you to keep that in mind. I know it's painful, I know it hurts right now, but you will get on to better days if you apply yourself. It's time to buck up, it's time to take accountability and take the right steps in the right direction that are going to help secure your financial future again. Which brings us to the fourth step, and that is making a plan to get back on track. The way that you're going to do that is everything that we just discussed in the first 3 steps. You're going to literally write it out. So if you need to go get a pen pad right now, please do, and please grab that pen and start making the notes of what's going through your mind right now. Let's explore those options in a balloon style of all the different things that you can. Just a thought bubble. Quite literally. I can rent out a room. I can get a second job. I can get a part-time job. These are the options available to me. I can sell my car, or maybe I could take my car back to the dealer if I just bought a new car and exonerate myself from that debt going out every single month. I can cut back on all my non-essentials. I am going to itemize my billing statement and make sure I'm not spending money where I don't need to be spending it right now. All of these things constitute making a plan. Once you take all of the different things that you identified in your thought bubble, you start making it into an action plan. Step 1, cut budget. Step 2, apply for a part-time job. Step 3, get a second job. Step 4, sublet a room. All of these options are available to you. It's important that you make that plan, you write it down, you carry it with you every single day, and you execute that plan. I would urge you to take it one step further and write down at the top of your action plan the reason why you're doing this. The reason could be, I need to do this because I have a family that I gotta support. I need to do this because I have a home that I don't want to get foreclosed. I need to do this because I am in a horrific financial position and I need to get onto a better day. These are the reasons why I'm doing it. Make it tangible. Make it something that you can realistically tie yourself down to so that it becomes a passion, it becomes a way of life. And as you do that, you will find yourself becoming increasingly successful in the execution of your plan. You got this and you can do this. If no one has told you yet, I want you to know that if no one else in your life says they believe in you, I believe in you, and you can take that to the bank, because I certainly do. That's why I'm making this episode right now, is just for you. You can do this. That brings us to the 5th step, which is to stay positive and optimistic. All battles are won or lost in our own mind. If we think we can, guess what? We can. If we think we can't, guess what? We can't. Whether we think we can or we think we can't, you're right. So let's make sure that we think we can and we can move forward, just like the little choo-choo train. I think I can, I think I can, I think I can. You can too, by just believing in yourself and staying positive. I know it can get hard. I understand your situation. I know that you could possibly be in tears right now listening to this, but I want you to know you can do this. And maybe that's the reason that you clicked on it. Things happen for a reason in this world. Things happen in the universe for a purpose. And maybe the purpose of you clicking on this was to have this conversation with me right now, to get real and get yourself on the right track. I want you to stay positive every step of the way and share positive affirmations with yourself. Look at yourself in the mirror and say, you know what? You're awesome. We're in some hard times right now, but guess what? We're going to dig ourselves out of this. We have a game plan. We identified what we can do, and we're going to make this happen. I have a strong mindset. I am like the phoenix, and I will get onto a better day. I know you can. Now go make it happen. By understanding what you're experiencing right now, it's called fear. And fear is nothing more than an acronym for false evidence appearing real. We have just dispelled fear because the best way to do that is with knowledge. And you have the knowledge of what you need to do to take the next step forward. You know to be writing this down and executing a plan. You know this and you can do this. So let's make this happen together. And in fact, why don't we talk about the best strategies to pay off debt right now and the top 7 stupid fees costing you money. I'm looking forward to chatting with you again. We'll see you in a few.